Hey guys, let's check something out. Cool. Alright, guys, welcome. So those of you that know me and know me well know that I haven't been on and done any videos for quite some time. And the reason why is I've not been very well. But with some great doctors and and friends, I'm okay. I'm getting better. So here I am. Now I checked with a friend of mine who a lot of my subscribers are his, and it's Rocky Outcrop. I always mention him on my channel. To see what time he was going live today, and I've just found out that he's going live at the same time as me. So here we are. We're both live at the same time, which probably means that question and answers isn't going to be as fluid as I'd like, but nonetheless, this can be done on catch up, and you guys can see and hear everything that goes on. But feel free to, if you are watching, to send me any questions that you might have, and we can have a little bit of a chat as we go. Okay, so what is it that I've got here? It's been an interesting month or so since I've been away. Quite a lot's happened, but not a lot's happened at the same time. Before we're looking at the dominance, let's just look at Bitcoin versus the dollar, right? So this area of purple, great area of support to buy in. You know, it was going to be the area. It's the 78.6 of the Fibonacci lines when I drew them from basically where we came up. We started coming up from here to the top. This was going to be the 786 turnaround. Okay, we hit it. Would have been a great buy on the way back up. Kind of felt that this would have been an area maybe to take a long if you wanted to turn around and get some leverage in there. Not from a point of view of betting your money and, you know, making some silly bets, but it would have been a good time for you to perhaps put some money into it for the short term, because it's the support line. Brilliant, and but it didn't come back down. It hasn't, well, at least it hasn't yet. You know, I'll sell everything. I'll sell the houses, the wives, the cat, a lot, if it gets down to it. But I can't see it happening. Now, when we were back in when we were back at sub 20,000, which would have been here, right? So this is the $20,000 mark. When we were all sort of sitting around about the 9 and even the 8 and the 4s back here, people were wondering, and I'm in an hour in saying, are we ever going to hit $20,000 per Bitcoin? And because so many people were talking about it, what they call a self-fulfilling prophecy was going to happen. That is that so many people that were Bitcoin hodlers or Bitcoin investors or Bitcoin traders, people that knew about Bitcoin, so many people wanted in and were saying it's going to hit $20,000 by the end of the year. That by the end of the year, when it came, it hit $20,000. Look, there it is. It's just there. It came down and bang, straight through. There was no resistance. Apart from that once, there was no resistance here. If you look at that one day, we just zoom in on that one day of 20,000. We took, if I grab that, and if we just go from the low point of the day all the way to the top, we had an 11% increase just in that day. We blasted through 20,000. We went all the way through to 21,500, which was incredible. I was expecting to see a little bit more resistance, maybe a week or two of bouncing off of that 20, weakening it, ready for us to go through, and maybe the VPVR showing us something, this starting to change and show us some positive direction. Okay, but it didn't. This was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Everyone was saying $20,000 by the end of the year. Okay, so many people in the crypto space, people that are subscribers of mine have asked. People that don't even know that I do YouTube, but know that I'm into Bitcoin, have asked me where do I think that it's going. Other YouTubers that I've spoken to all believe the 80,000 to 120,000 by December is going to happen. It's inevitable. So if we draw this is just my thinking out loud. If we draw a vertical line at December or December the 31st there, yeah, there's your line. If that's the line where everyone's expecting the self-fulfilling prophecy of 100,000, because everyone's talking about this £100,000 mark, dollar mark, I should say, and let's do a ray going from 100,000. So we're gonna have to bring this down, and we'll stick 100,000 just there, close enough. Then that's where we're looking for the move to get to 100,000 from where we are now. So if I grab a measure and just have a look at that, then we're seeing a 133% gain for your money now. Now, I've said all along at 4,000 that Bitcoin's cheap. When it hit 10,000, people were saying, should I buy it? I'm saying it's cheap. Then it hit 20,000, and I was saying it's cheap. It is now at 40,000, and it's cheap. There just isn't enough Bitcoin, because there's only 21 million. There just isn't enough Bitcoin for everyone. There isn't enough Bitcoin for every millionaire to own one Bitcoin. So even to own half a Bitcoin, it's an incredible thing. It is most likely going to be the future. We're already looking at CBDCs, which are government backed currencies, so that the banks themselves are going and finding their own currencies that are digital. So yeah, that's it. So it's going there, and Bitcoin is the leader. So right now, 40 grand or $40,000, it's a lot of money, and I understand that for a lot of people, it's a lot of money, but it's attainable. Get a part-time job, go out and work, get some extra money. Stop whatever it is that's got your grips. What's your vice? Stop it. Dollar cost average, every week just put a little bit what you can afford to put in, and dollar cost average in, and that way you'll end up right. At the minute, Bitcoin is achievable to own one Bitcoin, but when Bitcoin gets to 500,000, when Bitcoin gets to 750,000 or a million, to get one Bitcoin, it's going to be pretty much impossible for the majority of the public and the majority of my subscribers. But right now, it's attainable. It was definitely attainable down at 3,000 when it was down here, 3,000 or 4,000. It was attainable. And now it's more difficult, but it's still doable. It's still doable. So, how can you become a millionaire on Bitcoin? That's one of the ways, is dollar cost averaging and just keep buying. Yes, I trade, and I like to give trading signals to my patrons and people that are on my Discord. I'll give people coins which I feel are going to do well, and I have done, and they did. I haven't done a bad call out yet so far. They've all been good. So that's the other way of doing it, is by looking at one of these other coins. Now, let me just choose one on here at the minute. Let's go for Luna, right? Now, this is Luna versus Bitcoin, so not Luna versus the dollar. So this big rise here. Let's just let's go from this low here to where we are now. This is seen a 4,000% increase, not against the pound or the dollar. This is against Bitcoin, where Bitcoin itself has gone up thousands of percentage from three, back where it was at 3. So, if you'd have owned, say, a tenth of a Bitcoin or a quarter of a Bitcoin here, then what would you be earning? What would you be, what would you own right now? It would be well over 1 Bitcoin. So to use altcoins to get yourself Bitcoin, that is another way of you attaining this goal of owning 1 Bitcoin, if that's where your goal is. If you already own 1 Bitcoin, then maybe 2 Bitcoins is going to be your goal. Maybe it's 5, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 100 Bitcoins. Whatever your level is, the point is that at some point, Bitcoin is going to be unattainable. And now, even at this price, I believe that that Bitcoin is cheap. Right. So that is one way of doing it. Now, Bitcoin, and then there's shitcoin. Excuse the terminology, but it's just what the industry calls it. Now, these other coins, there are so many. There's thousands, okay? And what we've got to do is go on to here. And on here, this is CoinMarketCap. It's the most commonly used um, index, if you will, that gives the market capitalization of each coin. So what you do is the basic gist of it is find out how many coins are in circulation. So in this case, in circulation, there are 18.8 million coins. Times that by how much each coin is. Well, it's $43,026 currently, $265 currently. So you times that by that, and then that will give you the market cap, and the market cap would end up being 811 billion, nearly 812 billion. Okay, and then you can do the same for Ethereum and all the rest of it. And the further down the list that you go, the more risk that you take, because a lot of the, if I end up going at, let's say, page 6, you end up with these market capitalized coins that are just not very big. These have got massive potential to go to the upside and make you even more, but there's a risk to it. And the further down you go, you go into the realms of gambling then, and I'm not an advocate of gambling. Money is very difficult to come by, and you don't want to lose money. The banks are already making us lose money by giving the governments give the banks a license to print, and that license that the banks have given them, the Bank of England, for example, are giving out stimulus money left, right, and centre to keep the economy afloat. But at some point, things are going to start to go difficult, as they are right now with the petrol crisis, which is obviously it's not the petrol, so to speak. It's more the delivery drivers, but it's all got a knock-on effect. The world is going crazy right now, and people are finding it difficult. So materials for properties, people wanted to do their houses up because they've got some extra money that's come in, but they can't get the materials. And if they can get the materials have gone up. Timber, wood, has gone up 50%. Sand has gone up. Everything's gone up. And I did a video about 3 or 4 months ago, and I said that in about a year's time, you won't be able to go into a garage station or a petrol station with a pound coin and buy yourself a chocolate bar. It's just not going to happen, because everything's going to be over a pound. It's just coming because of the stimulus money. You could have a £20 note, and a £20 note 20 years ago would buy you a lot more than a £20 note would today. Well, it's exponential. The way that it's going down now is that £20 is going to become so it's going to have so much less value than the last 20 years of depreciation of the pound. The next 4 years is going to be even worse. So house prices reflect that. They've gone up by horrendous amounts, and so the whole economy that we're sitting on at the minute is a very difficult time. So money is difficult to come by. It's not difficult to come by. What am I saying? I'm not saying it's not. It's easy to come by because the governments are giving it away for free, but but what you can get for your money is not as much as it was, and that's only going to get worse. So where do you put your money so that instead of it going down in value, you're going to be able to gain money instead? Now, back in the 80s, interest rates went up to 15-17% in places, and that was great for people that owned their house outright and had the hundreds of thousands in the bank, because it meant that they could get all that money in interest paid and they could live on that, and it was great. But for the majority of the people, it was very difficult because their mortgages were already stretched, and when the mortgages went up, people were getting their houses repossessed. So very difficult time for everybody. And so we're in this situation now where if the banks put the interest rates up, then the world is, well, certainly the UK and America, the banks will have a big problem on their hands, because everybody will not be able to pay their mortgage. So interest rates can't go up, so something has to give. All right, so this is why I'm saying, where can we put our money? Because the government, the central bank, of every country have to come up with some kind of solution. Now, on here we have these these currencies. Now, I just by running and scrolling my mouse down most of these, I know what they all are. I know what they all do, and some of them are things that I would and have got my money in, and other things I would say to stay away from. But you can't really go too wrong with the top 10. So if we look at the top 10, and yes, one of those is Dogecoin, which is a meme coin. But when you look at the market cap of Dogecoin, it's big. It's a massive market cap. And yes, it's volatile. But as long as you're putting in money that you don't need, like money you can afford to lose, if you will, then when it does decide to bounce and rocket up, then you're talking hundreds to thousands of percent of an increase, which is what we want. Another thing about Dogecoin is it is very difficult to hack because of its hash rate. It's a very powerful coin. There's this paradox within crypto, which people that don't like crypto, what's the word I'm looking for? Critics, if you will, say, yeah, but you could hack Litecoin. All you'd have to do is get all the miners to hack Litecoin, and then all the Litecoin could you could turn around and take it all. And yeah, it is possible that can be done, but it's counterproductive, I should say, because if you do that, then you'd end up with all this Litecoin, but because it's been hacked, everybody's sold it, and it now doesn't hold any value. So you've just spent millions to billions to try and get it hacked, and now you're left with a load of coins that don't have any value. So it's a silly thing to do, which is why nobody's done it. And that's the same for a lot of these things. But Dogecoin is a very strong coin and not hackable. Well, it is hackable, but it's powerful. It's a powerful coin. So that's why it's there. I mean, it's and who doesn't love dogs, right? Okay. So, quick rundown. So you got Bitcoin. Bitcoin is this, I'm assuming that if you're watching my channel, then you've got a rough idea of what Bitcoin is and blockchain technology. Ethereum is a very similar currency in that it uses what they call proof of work, which uses computers to use their algorithms, and the currency, it works basically on a ledger system that is very similar to how Bitcoin works. But the purpose in Ethereum is so that other companies can make their own coin, their own cryptocurrency coin. I could make my own coin and call it Tony Coin, and that Tony Coin I can build on Ethereum, and it would be an ERC, which is the Ethereum's name, an ERC20 token, or there's another three, the least that I know of Ethereum. So that's what it does. It facilitates companies and people to create their own currency, to do smart contracts, which is a really big thing right now. So that we're not, saving paper. It can't be changed. It's secure. So Ethereum is really good, but it's environmentally not that friendly because of the computer power that it needs to do. They're going over to Ethereum 2.0, which will work on a slightly different basis and therefore be a little bit more environmentally friendly. Cardano is a very similar product to Ethereum, but in my opinion, although it's a hell of a lot newer, it's a cleaner product. It's more versatile, and yeah, it's going to do very well. I believe that Ethereum 2.0, I believe that Cardano will outperform Bitcoin to get yourself more Bitcoin. Tether is a very interesting coin, and a lot of people, the general public, don't know what Tether is. USDT. So USD obviously is the United States dollar. Tether, if you tether something to something, it means you're tying it to it. And so therefore what Tether is it's a simple coin that doesn't move up and down. It just follows the dollar. So if you have $10,000 and you put it into Tether, you have 10,000 USDT. And the platforms that we use as people that are interested and own cryptocurrencies, these platforms offer extremely high returns for USDT. There's another one called USDC, which is Coinbase's version of it, and they also offer massive rates of return. Some of them, we're talking 8 to 10% APR. So if you have a £10,000 in your bank, or £50,000 in your bank, or £100,000 in your bank's giving you what, 0.5% right now, if that. Well, if you put it into USDT and leave it into one of these top exchanges like Binance, like Coinbase, then you can get really, really high returns for your Tether or your USDC. This is the USDC one here. They both do the same. One's Coinbase's own, and the other one is Tether. It's just Tether. They're called what they call stable coins. They're stable because they're as stable as fiat, if you can call fiat a stable coin right now, a stable currency, I should say. So that's what Tether is. So should you buy Tether, I would have my money in Tether over pound or dollar or fiat of whatever country you're in, definitely, because the banks won't give me money for holding my fiat currency. At least having it in Tether or USDC will mean that you are able to keep up with the deflation of the dollar or the pound or whatever country you're in. At least the return that you're going to get for your asset, your money, is going to follow the depreciation of everything that you own, because the interest rate is high. Binance Coin. So Binance is the number one exchange. It's the number one exchange, I believe, in the world. If it's not the first number one, it's the second. Let me have a look at this. So if I go CRYPTO exchange, crypto exchange ranking, there you go. We'll get a good idea. So here we go. So this is it. It's on CoinMarketCap, funnily enough. So Binance, number one. Coinbase, number two. I didn't know which one was quite... I didn't know which one's which. Whether Coinbase was first or Binance. But I knew that they were the top two. So if you put your hard-earned cash into one of these companies here, then you're more likely to... make your money because they'll be giving you big percentages of return, and so that's what I would be doing with my cash. I wouldn't be having it in the bank. I'd be doing that. XRP is a currency that most crypto enthusiasts don't like. The reason why they don't like it is because XRP is a money for the banks, for the governments, and it is a means of transportation from one currency to another. And therefore it facilitates the fiat industry. At the moment, to do cross-border payments, you use an IBAN code or a SWIFT code, and with that SWIFT code or IBAN code, your money goes into that pool, and then the recipient has to then call for that payment. And I think there's something like 13 trillion. How much? Hang on, let's find out. How much money... MONEY is trapped in SWIFT, which I'll explain in a moment. Probably trapped isn't the right word. How much money is in SWIFT? How much money in SWIFT pool, probably. Should have done this before. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. Okay, how much money is in SWIFT? How much unclaimed? That's probably what I'm looking for. UNCLAIN claimed money is in SWIFT. Get rid of pool then. Unclaimed account balances. Rulebook. Yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. Sorry, guys. Do, 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 do. Aha, there we go. That's the figure. 16 billion remains unclaimed. No, that's something different. It's more than that. I don't think that the Swift is going to tell us, are they? No, it's trillions. It's something like 15 trillion. I'd have to have a look at this. I'll do this on my next video. I'll do a video on Swift and XRP. But it's enough to wipe out the third world debt, and it's money that's just sat there because the recipients haven't claimed it, so it's just sat there. And because of that, it takes 5 days, sometimes 7 days for your money to go. Let's say you got a mate called George Akakakwengo in Africa somewhere, and you're in Australia, and you want to send over $10. Then it's going to cost you the 25 Australian dollars to send over your $10 to George, and then George has to wait 5 to 7 days to receive his money, of which you're now in a minus. You're in a deficit of $25 to send over the money. Whereas XRP is instant; it costs pennies, and the banks love it. They've tested it. Yep, XRP. Look into it; it's a great product, and there are other coins that are trying to copy it, but it's just the opposite of Bitcoin. Bitcoin's for the people. It's for people to take control of their own money, their own life, to become self-reliant and independent, away from the banks. CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, are going to be the way forward, and it's possible. If you've got CBDC, if you've got one of these central bank digital currencies in England, obviously it's going to be different to the Japanese yens or China's currency. So you're going to need a mode of transportation to transfer the money across. And XRP may be the choice. And if that is the case, even now at $94. 94 cents, I should say, XRP is incredibly cheap. It's incredibly cheap. So XRP is definitely on my radar. I own some, and yeah. Solana has just been incredible. Incredible the way that it's gone up. Definitely the way to go is Solana. Now, for some reason, my chat isn't coming up on my computer, but I can see the chat on my screen, and I've got some friends that are nipped in to say hello. So, hi, Apple. Nice to see you. Hedy B, good to see you, and thanks for coming in, Corey. I've missed you all too. Missed you all greatly, actually. And so, thanks for being on the chat. I'll leave my phone here because then I can keep an eye on it. Sorry I missed you. It's just at the minute. Well, let's have a look why I'm not getting it. Oh, there we go. Look. Hey. Yeah, cool. Okay, I can see you now. I can say hello. Hi. Yeah, so this is what XRP is. Solana are great. They're doing similar things to what Cardano are doing. A lot of things are built on Solana. Yeah, great. USDC, already mentioned them. They're very similar to Tether. Polkadot. Well, there's a let's go back to this here, and a lot of these when we look at the charts, right, a lot of these things, when we look at these candles, which are these red and green things, when we look at these candles, they often give us information that the layman can't understand. But for someone who's trained, they can get a lot of information from these candles. They can find out if it's a seller's market, if it's a buyer's market. They can find out if there's a trend, if the trend's going upwards or downwards, if something's worth buying at any particular point. And here's a great example, actually. This is a CHZ. This is Chiliz. Chiliz is, I think it's the biggest NFT, non-fungible token, ERC20 token. I think it's the biggest one that's out there, and they're incredible. So when the World Cup happens, people are going to be... Do you remember going into the shop and buying Top Trumps, or going and buying Pokemon cards for your kids, or when you were a kid, you might have had football players. You end up getting I know it would have been David Beckham for me, I guess, going back in the day. But if you'd have had one of those gold cards when you open the packet, get a packet of 5 cards or whatever, and you get the gold ones, and they're rare, so they're worth money. And a lot of the NFTs now, so these non-fungible tokens, a lot of them are sports related. And so a lot of them are sports related. And this is what Chiliz is. So you can bet your bottom dollar when the World Cup happens, when the NBA happens, when you get some big fight happen, like just recently, like yesterday, you can imagine that new NFTs are going to come out, and therefore, if you can get to the bottom and buy the bottom and save some money in one of these coins, then that's great. So here we are right now. We've got what I call a support, and most people do. This line here is an area of support where we keep bouncing off of it, and the price won't go below this area of 606 satoshis, right? And so every time we've hit it, we bounce back off of it. So right now we've hit it again. So now, if you've got some Bitcoin, it's a good idea, maybe? What do you think? Is it a good idea to change your Bitcoin, get it over into Chiliz, wait for Chiliz to go up to here, then sell your Bitcoin? Sell your Chiliz for Bitcoin? Let's have a look. What would you make there? If you go from there to there, then you've just made yourself, if you 40%. So you got half a Bitcoin, then you're on your way there. Then you wait for it to come back down here again, and then you buy it again. And it might be that once it gets to there, you sell your Bitcoin, and you find that the candle ends up going right up here. And you might kick yourself and think, if only I've held on, then fine, okay? Don't be too upset. Don't beat yourself up about it. You've just made yourself 40%. Now, if the banks are only offering 0.5% on your money, and you've just made 40%, then you've just made more interest in one few months worth of holding on to Chiliz. You've just made yourself more money than you would have ever made in your lifetime. Well, in 40 years. Well, for 80 years, if it's only 0.5%, and you've just made 80 years of leaving your money in the bank at 0.5%. So you get my gist. So lots and lots to think about. But these are your support lines, okay? So when I look at all of these areas here, I'm seeing that everything's coming down to these support lines. Nulls, here we go. We're down at a support line. Audius, down at this support line. So they're all there. Now, when we look at the Bitcoin dominance, which is the dominance of all of the altcoins on one side, like we think of a pair of scales. You've got a pair of scales, old-fashioned scales, where you got a dish on each side, and you put your weight on one side, and that's what this is. This is all of the altcoins, all on one side, and Bitcoin on the other side, and that's what this chart is. So if we shrink this down, all the way down, I'll just hide this these lines here, these VPVR. Just get rid of them for a second. And obviously it was at 100% here because Bitcoin was the very first ever coin. That's why it was at 100%. Then obviously, well, it's not obvious, but as more altcoins come out, it comes down. So, I don't know, that might have been when Ethereum came out, or XRP, or Litecoin. And then it comes down, and then we get this big chunk here that, happen. This is all on a daily, by the way. Every single one of these is a day. So, yeah, we've come down, and as Bitcoin goes up, and the balance goes and twos and fros from one to the other, you've got this dominance playing out, and this like war between the altcoins and Bitcoin. Look at here, you've got these numbers. These are numbers. They're not dollars. These are a percent. So at the minute, it's the green is where we are as a percent. We're now at 41.91%. Dominant towards altcoins. So we're actually in altcoin territory right now. Altcoins have the domination over Bitcoin. When we look, I haven't done a video for, it's been I don't know, 6 weeks or something since my last video, but I did this head and shoulders. These are the drawings that I'd put in, and I was calling out for this red line to be where we're going to see an area of a possible turnaround for Bitcoin, that we would come down to this red line and start coming up. It's possible, but it didn't. It carried on going down, and that's great. And we've come down to this double line here, which on the let's go. You'll see that double line is this golden pocket, which is kind of around about the 0.618 mark. Okay, but But don't let that scare you, thinking, well, it only went down there before. There's no chance that we're going to come down here and come further. Because back here, we ended up coming down to 35, okay? And 35 was back in 2018, 2017 even, when we came down here. And that was 4 years ago. And since the last 4 years, there's so many more altcoins. There's so many more companies that have got smart contracts that are written into these coins, right? So there's far more altcoins are available now, and therefore it stands to reason that over time, yes, Bitcoin will go up in value, and you know, it's the coin that I think that we should all be heading for. All these other coins, for me, are just an elevator so that we can move towards owning more Bitcoin. That's all I'm interested in, is owning Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is king. So yeah, so as that happens, the price will end up, you know, over the course, you know, you get like a moving average. Over time, I expect in 10, 15 years time, you know, for us never to see, you know, 80%, 90%. A Bitcoin dominance ever, you know, because we've got so many more altcoins now. And as time goes on, more and more altcoins that are doing different things, like NFTs that we've just been speaking about with Chiliz, they weren't even a thing, you know, 10 years ago. They weren't even a thing. And they've only just, like, the last sort of 18 months, 2 years, started coming on people's radars. And when they came on people's radars, everyone was just laughing at it. Like people laughed at Bitcoin and thought it was just for criminal masterminds or criminal industry. Nobody thought that PayPal would start taking crypto or Bitcoin, or Tesla, or that the banks would start it, or Goldman Sachs would start looking into Bitcoin, etc. And now all these people are starting to realize, hang on a minute, Bitcoin actually has a value. You know, whether it's you turn around and say, well, the value comes from the fuel that was being put into the computers to mine it. I mean, there's a whole big debate there over just a message there from JA. Hey mate, good to have you here. Thanks for nipping in. Yeah, there's a massive debate there as to whether you're going to spend your money on whether Bitcoin is a environmentally damaging currency or not. And one of the things that you might consider is how much energy and pollution does it take to mine literal gold. And if you've got a block of gold, I mean, I've got some cherry Pepsi here. If this was an actual block of gold, it'd probably be about 35, 40 grand, maybe even more in my hands, and it'd be heavy. But I couldn't do anything with it. If I needed to hammer a nail in a wall, I could hammer a nail in a wall, but there's no actual use case scenario for the average person for gold. There is for electronics engineers or sound engineers. Gold's a great conductor, a semiconductor even. So yeah, it could be used in circuit boards and things, but I'm not about to start putting a circuit board together because I don't know how to. So gold is, yeah, it's just this rare metal that people have decided that's got a value. And but it took a lot of pollution over the years to get it out of the earth, you know, and likewise that's the case with Bitcoin. But to transport the gold then takes transportation costs. So if someone buys something for 200 billion, and they're going to pay for it in gold, then you're going to have to transport all this billions across the world, and that's going to take fuel, jet fuel, whatever it is. It's a very difficult, and there's so many arguments as to why Bitcoin. I'm comparing Bitcoin to gold here. Why Bitcoin is a digital gold. That's basically what I'm saying. Is that this is the way that it's going. You don't have cassettes anymore. You just don't. I've got vinyl. I like to listen to music on vinyl. There's nostalgia to it. There's a nostalgia to it. But if you actually want to listen to a real beautiful, perfect rendition of Purple Rain by Prince, I'm not going to get my vinyl out and listen to it on vinyl. And I've got a nice setup, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get a digital version. I'm going to get a digital version, and I'm going to play it on a digital system, and I'm going to put it on stereo, and I'm going to listen to it, and it'll be perfect. But if I get a cassette and then listen to it on cassette, it's going to slow down and speed up, and you'll hear that you'll hear that it's wrong. Can you even buy cassette players anymore? Let me know in the comments if you can still buy a cassette player. My point is, everything's going digital. I don't know. Been sort of trapped in the house for the last couple of months. I've been eating a lot of takeaway food, and there's a particular shop called Yinghua, and they're a Chinese delivery service, but they don't take cash. No, sorry, they don't take card. They only take cash, and it's so frustrating because I don't carry cash. I just don't carry cash. Customers pay me in the bank when I do make a trade, and a trade gets successful, and I need to pay my bills. I take the money, I put it into my bank, and it's in my bank. Yeah. So if something happens like that, then I just don't carry cash anymore. So even cash, whilst it's even coming down in value, people don't use cash anymore. It's digital. It's money that's in the bank, and we don't see the actual cash. So yeah, it goes on and on and on. Now, basically this is what I'm saying is, as time's gone on, things have gone digital, and so is money. Money's going digital. This is why this CBDC, this central bank digital currency, is what the banks are looking to do. So if you haven't heard of that, you need to look into that, or stay tuned, and I'll be doing videos on these kind of things later on to educate you guys. Ultimately, I will be able to give people what I believe is going to be a fast-moving altcoin, so that you can get yourself more Bitcoin. But ultimately, I would say what I am for you guys, for my subscribers, I am a soundboard for you guys and an education board, so that you guys can hodl and make more Bitcoin. Because if you own even a little bit of Bitcoin right now, then you're already going to be rich in 10 years. And I know 10 years is a long time, but the older you get, 10 years just flips by. So if you can get yourself even a little bit of Bitcoin now and hold it and hodl onto it, it'll see you good later on. So $3,000 Bitcoin is cheap. $10,000 Bitcoin, cheap. $40,000 Bitcoin, where we are now, cheap. Okay, $500,000 Bitcoin, $1 million Bitcoin is not going to be so easy to come by. So get yourself as much as you can, save it, get it into a high interest so that you've got good return. And yeah, this is my goal as a self-reliant independent trader. Now, none of what I've said to you is financial advice. I have got no degrees in finance. I have just spent thousands of hours scrolling and learning and looking up and learning and scrolling and looking up everything. So if I can do it, then you can do it. So yeah, that's it really. It's been nice to just sort of sit here and kind of chat through. It's lovely to see Apple Blossom and Eddie. They have always supported me every time that I've come in. J.A. has said hello, and Corey did too. I don't know who J.A. is, whether he's changed his name, but it's nice for you to be here, and thank you very much. What do you think to my cushion, my Bitcoin cushion? I like this. It says it's made by The Moon, so I reckon that Carl from The Moon, I reckon he is the owner of the company that makes them cushions. Yeah. So any questions? And I reckon that Rocky is probably still on, because most of my subscribers are his. So let's just have a little look at Rocky and see if he is live. So here he is. Oh, that's me, look, I'm on. Look, 5 watching. Hello, 5. Yeah, there he is. Look, 77 people watching him. Yeah. But this is the guy. So he's a professional trader. And if you are not a subscriber of his, go over to his channel and yeah, go on there and subscribe, because he's awesome. There we go. So he's going to finish within the hour. Yeah, he's a great guy. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty much it. Yeah, any questions? I'm not a cut. Hey, buddy, good to see ya. Good to see you back, Tony. Thanks, man. It's nice to be here. Nice to see everybody. Not been too well, and yeah, but yeah, getting there now. Getting there. Getting back. Yeah, just been speaking about the economy, money, what to do with it, why not to have your fiat currency in the banks, and maybe to put it into Tether so that you can get good interest rates on it, and etc. So that's what we've been talking about today, a few little bits. For some people it might have been exciting, for some people it might have been boring, but it is what it is. So yeah. Yeah, any questions? Any questions? Anything I can bring to the table? Hey, Anthony Williams, good to see you back. You too, Mr. Williams. So Mr. Williams is one of my patrons. He supports me and is part of the Discord. On my Discord, there is a little area that says for paid patrons. And if I see a pattern coming out and playing out, and I think that it's going to be a good call, I put it in there. Now, I called out audio. I've called out Luna. So we'll look at Luna. I called that out. So if anybody went into Luna, they did well. I called out audio. So if you went into audio, you would have caught that. Obviously, it's come back down now, but you would have caught that big rally up there on audio and done well. And yeah, so there are a couple more to be called out. Ramp's another one that is doing really well. Whilst we've just had this retracement here, I believe that Ramp is going to be doing really good. You can see that I've got a Theta jacket on, hoodie. Theta is one of my favourites, and is a great time to buy right now, especially as we come down to these prices. So, you know, these are all against Bitcoin. So yeah, join the Patreon. It's not a lot. It's not very expensive. It's £7 a month or something like that. But that will get you into that little room where I give you the nuggets. And the more people that are in there, the more what's the word I'm going to be interactive I'll be with everybody. And there we go. So press the join button, which is just down below, and join up. With that, I will say goodbye. I think. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's it. Alright guys, thanks. Oh, don't forget to press the like button for me, because with that like button comes great responsibility. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to go and sign off now and say thank you for signing in. Thanks for having a listen and supporting me. And I'm going to go and watch the rest of Rocky, because everything that he has to say normally has great value. So yeah, yeah, I'm going to go and watch him now. Alright guys, so I'll say goodbye and take care.